Welcome to Linguistic Lips. I am your host, Indian Girl, and to my right we have
Sunshine.
And from the Wiggity West Coast we have
Red Star.
So today's episode, as you see, there are no male guests on this episode. I think they were too scared to talk on this subject. But today's episode, we're going to talk about why are Black women undateable. Technically, I don't think they're undateable, but hey, I just put it out there so you guys would be interested in what we have to say, but I don't think so. But I do have an insert from a friend of mine I've known for 26 years. He's been married twice. The first time he was married was to a Black woman, and now he's currently married to a white woman. So his insight was very important to me. I wish we could have had him on. But I met both of his wives. I got along with both of his wives. They were both great women to me. So I wanted his insight since he is someone that has dated biracial and Black women. So I'm just going to read what he wrote. Hope you don't mind because I sure didn't ask him. Well, so to broach the subject, okay. So the trouble is, I don't think any one set of people are undateable. There are stereotypes that we have about particular segment of the population, but I think culture, socioeconomic class, upbringing, etc., are more important than race. Most of the Black women I dated, I would have dated again, and their race did not play a factor. Raised in Miami, I must confess, I did my share of getting around. I've dated Jamaicans, Haitians, Colombians, Cubans, Nicaraguans, Costa Ricans, whites, etc. You get the point. That said, race is complex. Black American women are different from Black Caribbean women. A Southern white woman is different from a New York white woman. A Black woman from the hood is different from an upper middle class raised Black woman. What I'm trying to say is race is seldom the factor if a relationship works or don't work. Anyone dating someone or not dating someone because of race needs to examine their own internal issues and what problem they have with Black women. It is not the women, it is the individual judging them and putting all in the same bucket. As a Black man, I would hate for anyone to put me in any category other than the one I've earned. So I thought that was very important and very powerful what he said and how he said it, which I agree with totally. I think my biggest concern is being put in a category just because of the color of my skin. And most of us as Black people, we get that a lot. Red Star, what you think about what he said?
I think what he said was phenomenal. Gosh, please let him know that I said that. He touched on everything because it's not, of course, I mean, I feel the same way. It's definitely not about skin color or anything. Everybody is their own individual. And like he said, upbringing, all of that is the main factor in everything. Everybody has their own view of how they see the world. And we have to try to learn and respect that. But what I did, because I did a little research, to me, it's all like stereotypes influenced by media. So it just depends on what you take in.
Mhm.
But I will say, I do have two men in my family, and I get on them about this all the time. They actually speak very derogatory about Black women, but both of them date Black women.
Yeah.
I've never seen them date anybody but Black women. So it's a little weird and contradictory. I mean, you could go on and on about it, but ultimately, for me and how I feel about it, I think it's all a crack of shit.
What do you think, Sunshine?
I agree with both points that were already made. There's not really much for me to add to that because I agree with Red Star, what she said. His response hit on every point, and she added to it as well. I feel like there are stereotypes for every group of people, every race of people. Yeah, so it just depends on your personal experience with each person that you date, and I don't think it's based on race exactly. Like when you just date a person, you just don't like the person. But I feel like people do that with all things. Like I like talk about signs, astrological zodiac signs all the time. Like once I date a bad seed from a certain sign, I'm like, I do not mess with those signs anymore. So I feel like people put whatever on everything. Like You date a black woman, you have a bad experience with that particular person, you're like, oh, black women, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's just the woman that you dated. Everyone is not like that. You have to find someone that fits what you're looking for and fits who you want to be with.
Well, I want to touch on the stereotype aspect of it as a black woman who has been dating for 20 something years or whatever. This main stereotypes as black women is we have bad attitudes, we're hood, we're this, we're that, we're too independent. All these stereotypes that are thrown on us, even though some of those things may be attributed to our culture, how we are. So the one thing is the independence thing, too independent, don't need a man, blah, 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 don't want a man, things like that. Being independent does not mean I don't want a relationship or I'm not dateable. It is, I was put in a situation where I had to be independent. I had to raise my kids by myself. I had to go work. I had to do these things. So I was made to be independent. That does not make me undateable, because when you come into the scenario, she doesn't need you as much as other women who were groomed and raised to have a man in their life.
Depend on him.
Yeah, and to depend on a man. So basically, our independence does not make us undateable. It means you have to be able to step in and say, you know what, this woman has been doing this on her own. She doesn't know anything else. I need to come in and add value to that, instead of taking away from that, saying, oh, she got a bad attitude, or she do this, she do that, she don't know how to be a girly girl, a woman, or whatever. You have to look at, the past situations, what they had to go through, and why are they being so independent. I do hear a lot of women say, oh, I don't need a man, I don't need a man. You might not need a man, but you still have a want for a man. So it's a lot of black women that just settle into the fact that no one wants to date them. So they get on the defense. It's like, I don't want anybody anyway. And the truth of the matter is, nobody wants to be alone. No, it just takes the right person to come into your life to balance you out. So that one stereotype about the independent woman thing, you got to think about, why is she being independent? How did she get to this point of independence, and why is she like that way?
I think it goes into what you were saying. It's historical, right? Like, I've been doing a lot of reading about just like social and injustice and stuff like that. And basically, a lot of things are passed down genetically, right? Like, our strength and our resilience is something, in one hand, that can be admonished, and people are like, oh, black women are so strong, that whole trope. But then on the other hand, you have to think about why and where that comes from. Why? Yeah, exactly. Trauma. Where that comes from. Why are we so able to be on our own and this and that? It's not because we want to, of course. In a lot of situations we have to, and genetically it does pass down. It does. But that doesn't make us undateable, because we don't take no shit and because we speak up for ourselves, and because we know how to go out and get our stuff. Not that any other race of woman doesn't do that. It's just the way in which we do it, I think, is what makes the difference.
That rolls into the angry black woman stereotype. We're angry, you always have an attitude, always blah, blah. That goes back to being independent, being the person that's running the household, having to be the mother and father. Especially if you have kids, having to be the mother and father, you have to be stern. You have to be a certain way with your kids, because women are seen as a weaker vessel. So you don't want to get ran over as a parent. So it may come off as angry, and you have to think about it. I was thinking about it today. I was going through my day and everything that I had to do, everything I had to get done, and everything was just irritating me, because it's like, I have to do this by myself. And knowing,
don't you do it. Don't you do it. While she's handling those emotions, I want to say that I feel like that the angry black woman thing, I feel like personally, maybe not even personally, I feel like it might be a fact that is from racism. Like, I feel like you ever see those videos where there are Karens and they're messing with black people, and to the point where once a black person says something back to them finally, like, then it's, oh my you're yelling at
Girl.
me. I'm scared
I'm
for
the
my
victim
life.
now.
Yeah,
I'm
and
the
it's
victim
like
Yeah.
they weren't doing anything to you until you inserted yourself into their space, and they kept
Yeah.
the peace for as long as they could in that situation, and then all of a sudden now you're scared because they took up for themselves.
That's why
And
I
I
tell
feel
people
like
when I
people-
snap, that means
Yeah.
I've already went through the okay, I'm let it go. Okay, I'm let this go, and it's to the point where okay, we at 4 now. I'm blowing up now, and it's like oh, all you see is the end result, not what got you there to the result. And just like I was saying, like I'm going through my day about all the stuff I'm doing, like being overwhelmed, and I'm overwhelmed now because it's been a long day. But you know, being overwhelmed, it can come in any form. Me, you know, I'm either gonna get angry and then I'm gonna cry. You know, it's I got one emotion. I cry for everything. But you know, so while I'm mad, fighting, I'm still gonna be crying tears. But you know, it's like you have to think about those things when you're dealing with people. I try my best to think outside of myself. Why is this person upset right now? Why is this person having a bad day? Let me not antagonize them or push them over the edge and figure out what's going on. So I don't think as Black women, we're giving those graces. You basically it's like, oh, that's just she's being ghetto, she's being this, whatever. You know how it is, you know how they are, you know blah 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 blah. And it's like, why does it have to be you know how they are instead of you really figuring out why is this happening? Why are they being this way? Or, you know, anything. And like I said, you know, you can't lump me in a category with everybody else. If I grew up in the hood, I'm going to act a little different than if I grew up in the upper middle class. Like he said, it's going to be a difference. With me, I grew up in both. So it's like, it's going to be a little mix of both. Because when you grow up in a rougher environment, you got to be strong. You got to know how to fight. You got to know how to protect yourself.
I feel like you're more on the defense about everything. And that's
Yeah.
where that attitude comes from, is because you don't understand everything someone's like, where someone's coming from all the time. Like you're going to take everything as a defense because that's all you know is to defend yourself. If you grew up in that type of environment. I personally have never grown up in the hood. I've grown up in the suburbs. I don't know a bunch of other black women that are constantly angry or have an attitude about things. I try not to surround myself with any type of person that's always angry and mad at the world and things like that, because it's draining. Okay, but you have to, if you're only dealing with people from a certain area in life, that's what you're gonna see all of the time. You can't group in an entire race based on the people that you've experienced. And black women aren't dateable. The black women you date, in your opinion, aren't dateable because you don't know how to deal with people from where they were raised, where they're coming from.
And that's another thing about Undateable. The other stereotype is like all black women are hoes. They sleep around. They have babies. This stereotype of we can't be wife material, or we can't maintain a relationship, or we're gonna be anything like that. Again, y'all already know I've been married, so it's never been a situation where someone told me that I was undateable. So I don't know what that's like. I just know what I see around me. And even being in some relationships, like you said, you have family members, they only date black women, but they talk negative about black women. And I think that's what hurts me the most, when they're talking to me about women of color, and I'm a woman of color, but they're talking to me as if I'm not a woman of color and just bashing the black woman. I'm just sitting there like, oh, okay, this
like, as if it's a compliment that they're not talking about.
Oh, I'm not talking about you. I'm like, but you're talking about a group of women, and you threw them all in this category of being this and that because, oh, you notice this characteristic. So I know this characteristic, and where I'm from, when you do this means you're this. And in my mind, it's like, well, where I'm from, that doesn't mean that. And again, it's environmental, it's historical, and it's just, it's you have to get to know, and that's any race. You have to get to know different people, and I made it a point, like you said, different races have different, like they'll say the Spanish woman, they'll cut you. You know, black woman will fight you or shoot you. A Latina woman will cut you. You know, it's like Haitian woman will put roots on you. Who knows? Anyway.
Wait, what white women do? What white women do?
Hit you with their car.
No, they are strategic. They take their time. They befriend you, and they're more strategic. But these stereotypes of women,
That's cry rape is what they do.
oh yeah. So these stereotypes that you place on anybody, even with the zodiac thing, it's like, yes, a certain sign, it has certain characteristics that are similar across the board. But again, if you ever read, there's always some pros and some cons, and that's with anybody. Again, we came from slavery, we came from a place of segregation, we came from a lineage where, again, we had to be resilient, we had to be strong. And as a black man, as far as dating, they're expected to be strong. They're expected to be resilient. They're expected to be able to handle things and all of that. And we accept that as a strong black man. But as a black woman who came from the same thing, who had to do the same thing, because guess what? If your man was taken away, you had to hold it down. You had to be strong. You had to be willing to fight. You had to do everything that he was doing in his absence. But then we're angry. We're too independent. We're this, we're that. You know, of course, we're not. I don't like the whole thing that these are a man's roles and this is a woman's role. So you're not expected to be like this, or you're expected to be like this because you're a woman. It's just a level of respect. And again, if you have a problem with a certain race, that's a you problem, not that person's problem.
I think it's all socialization, basically. It's a socialization that's rooted in racism, which is a construct in and of itself, right? I was watching this clip for this class of this old show called Amos and Andy, and it was because the class that I'm taking is about Black women in media and how we're depicted. This is where this called like the sapphire trope, like the sassy, feisty Black woman. And I'm watching this and watching how this lady is speaking to her husband. And she's not saying anything bad. She's just speaking with like a little oomph, shall I say. And so it comes from that. And this show is from like, it was in black and white. So I feel it's probably, I didn't get the date, but probably like the 50s or 60s or something. And so you can see how it just goes on and how it has been ingrained in society. So it's basically what you choose to take in, right? With the vaccine, with everything, like what you choose to take in, what your belief system kind of becomes. And so I feel like just as we have media depictions of Black women ain't never married, we're angry, all this other crap, we do have the opposite of that, right? Where I was looking online, if you look up the hashtag like Black Love exists. There's a show created by this husband and wife. You guys have probably seen it, Black Love Doc. And what they're trying to do is highlight, that Black people do love. We do have relationships. Black women are married. Black men do love Black women, So I think for every trope that is negative, there is a positive if that's what you're looking for, right? I did a quick search on why Black women are undateable. And Essence had a really good, they listed 7 things. And one of them actually covered what you were talking about, what you just mentioned, Indian Girl, about Black women being promiscuous. Well, this one said that we are more inhibited, like we won't do certain things. So let me tell you what they said. The first one was, and they actually interviewed professional matchmakers. We don't seem as fun. We look like we can't be bothered. We don't offer enough support. We're more inhibited sexually. We want what we want, meaning we won't settle. And that's a bad thing. I thought that was good. Right? And then the other is our friendliness can sometimes be misunderstood. So, and just, right? Like you can't be nice to somebody.
That's my problem. That's my problem. Everyone's
that's why
I'm too nice. I'm too friendly.
Yeah.
It
So
ain't
that's
that.
where the
Just saying hello to somebody. All of a sudden, you want to bed. And they're like, okay, golly, we humans out here. We gotta exist. That doesn't mean every time you look at somebody and speak, you want to sleep with them. But you know, the inhibited thing, I totally agree with, because it has taken me up until the last couple of years to open up sexually.
I think that's a little generational too, though.
But because of all the stereotypes and all the things, oh, don't do that, then you're a hoe. Don't do this, then you didn't. Don't do stuff I didn't want to do anyway. But it still was like, you know. So what is this? What are these things for? You save it for marriage. Then when you get in your marriage, you're like, what do I do now? I'm still inhibited, because like, you know, if you open up, it's like, oh, have you always been like this? And this is a question. Like, no, I'm opening up because of who I'm with. And this person brings this out of me. And it's always a question, a constant question. Like, why are you questioning the person that you're with and you love, and they're sharing this with you? What does that mean for you to think that, because you know that most black women are like this, most black women, blah, blah, blah. So you put in that stereotype, you're just throwing the stereotype, and that keeps the person in their shell. We cannot be open in any way. We can't speak nice to people, because that means we want them. We can't tell our partner what we want sexually, because that means we've probably been promiscuous before. We can't express ourselves, because that means we got a nasty attitude, because we're being who we are. And it's like, it's a constant battle of, who am I really? Because you're not accepting me for who I am. You know, you want certain things. That's another thing. I've been reading a lot. I keep hearing all these things about what happened to the grandmas and the big mamas and stuff like that. I'm like, y'all want those grandmas back that looked after the kids and cooked all the time, whatever. Them the ones that was like going off on everybody, slapping everybody upside the head. But you're saying we're missing out on that right now. We don't have grandparents like we used to. So make up your mind.
But don't nobody want to fuck no grandmama like that. Why they talking about that? What they want? That ain't what they want. They just want somebody to take care of stuff. But that's not who they want to bed. You know what I'm saying?
But those grandmas, it's a lineage of women. You saying we're missing out on this type of woman that did not teach the younger generation to, but you don't want that type of woman, because that's that woman that you're saying is undateable. But she stayed with her husband for 60, 70 years, and they made it work, and it was an understanding. She runs the house, you run everything outside of the house. You know, now it's like, because everybody's working and paying bills together, it's this whole thing. It's that, you know, yes, be equal. Yes, be, you know, sharing those responsibilities, but at least have respect. You know, the expectation of us to do everything and not say anything is an issue. You want us to do everything, but don't say anything. Don't have an attitude about it. Don't tell me that you don't like it. Don't say anything. Just do everything, and then you wonder why we get angry.
But that's that's why we're dying, because it's stress and holding everything in, being overworked. In turn, we're not supported, right? Are you supported by somebody that thinks you're angry and this and that, and has all of these preconceived stereotypical notions that they believe about you? No. So we're not getting the support.
Yeah, that's what happens. So they turn their back on you. Like, you having a bad day? Oh, I don't want to deal with you. I can't have a bad day. I need somebody to lean on, to cry my shoulder on and all that. When I'm having a bad day, I don't want to be left alone. It's like, you know, you turn your back on that, because like, oh, she got an attitude. Oh, she did. You don't know what's going on in people's lives. Again,
this is why you date people who cater to your love languages.
Yes, I was gonna say, you touched on that earlier, and it's so important to really cultivate your tribe and who's around you and what you allow in and what you don't allow in. And you actually pointed it out too, Indian girl, about it slipped my mind, about, I forgot.
But yeah, it's important. Like, even when you're in a relationship, you should hang out with other couples, positive couples. When you're married, you should hang out with other married couples, because you realize that, you know, when you just keep to yourself, you think all the issues are just what you and I go through. But when you go and you get around other couples and you guys talk freely, oh yeah, blah, 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 yeah, you know, so did the same thing, you realize, oh, my wife or my husband or my spouse is not an oddball, because this is something that happens in other relationships, and it's like funny. I was watching I don't know which one it was, Kings of Comedy, one of them, when he was like, oh, she want to be everything. She want to be the house manager. She want to be the mama. She want to be this. He talking about his wife, and it's like, man, I heard that before. It's like, it's just what women do. They run the household, and they take care of everything. They manage everything for you. What he was saying in a negative way, but he realized he needed that. So, and that's nothing I said about people. You have certain attributes about you that someone really appreciates, but to the attribute, there's a pro and a con. So if you say, I like this about you, but I don't like it in this aspect, it's like, okay, the person can work on it, but if we take away that, then what you enjoyed about that person goes away too, because that's an attribute. So if they're like that across the board, but you only want it in this area, it's like, okay, it doesn't work that way. Love a person for who they are and what they bring to the table again, and it's based on love language. You're giving me what I need, and I'm giving you what you need, and that's what makes a relationship. It has nothing to do with race or anything. So if you got two people from the streets, they understand their language. They're gonna get along a little bit better.
Happy wife, happy life.
Was happy.
I say that's
happy house.
No, because I'm saying happy wife, happy life, because if you're giving what she needs, she gives you what
automatically. That's how women are.
And that comes. Oh, that's what I was thinking about earlier when you said like, Black women are too independent and this and that. I feel like the way that you are with your significant other is the way that they love you. If you don't make me feel like I can be submissive, I am not going to be submissive. Like, I'm not going to tone down because I don't feel like you can handle that. If you're not being in charge, if that's what you want to be, you have to present yourself as such. Yeah. And then I can feel like I can relax a little bit.
A level of respect.
Yeah, I can relax a little bit and let you do what you want to do, because I feel like safe in this situation that we are in.
And I think that's the problem now with the expectation of, I expect you to come in through the door like a wife should, with you not giving anything. You got the whole thing is messed up. A man, a woman is not to prove anything to you. You're supposed to prove everything to her, because you're pursuing her. So if you expect this woman to be submissive, to only be with you, to respect you, to only love you, you have to give her that in return, and let her feel comfortable that that's what you're going to be. So when you come out the gate having this expectation of her, but you're still doing whatever you want to do, and she's like, I really can't, I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable, I don't know if this is the right thing for me, because we're not committed and we're not in this together. There's nothing wrong with her saying, no, you're not going to get that from me. That doesn't make her undateable. That doesn't make her not wifey material. That just means you didn't present yourself in a way to make her feel like this is what she wants to do.
Yeah, because once I feel like the energy is not matching, if I feel like I'm doing too much and you're not doing enough at all, I'm out of here. Once I start thinking too hard about this, because I'm not going to just overthink just for nothing. Like, if you're not giving me what I need, I require already, then it's not like, well, you have to pay for this, pay for that. Like, what I actually need, like, to match my emotions, my feelings, and how I feel about this going on. If I'm like, I got to think about it too hard, you're not even doing, like, the minimum that I require, I got to get up out of here. Like, I'm not going to give you that energy anymore. Now you're looking at me like, well, what's wrong with you? You.
And that's 0.7.
What's wrong with me?
Way too picky. What did they say, 0.7? We don't waver.
Not 7.
But I wanted to know, Divine, because you said like about like, it's different groups and different age. Do you hear anything like that, like in your age group?
About what? Are you talking about being like the sexual?
Just like Black women being undateable, being angry, just any of like the negative like stereotypes.
Honestly, it depends, because a lot of my generation, I mean, and y'all's generation too, is on social media. So it's a lot that's portrayed on social media, but there are people that go on social media all day saying this and that, and then they're in whole happy relationships, not doing any of the stuff that they're talking about online. But or the music and everything, it's overly saturated with what you think everybody wants to hear, but people are not actually living those lives once they log off. So it's hard to say, what is actually going on. But me and my friends, we have real conversations about what's going on, in your relationship. Not to put all your business into your friends, but I mean, we do. We overshare. So, I know people I used to be friends with, people I'm friends with now, like what we've talked about going on in our relationships. And I mean, we don't really have those issues, but you go online with those same age group of people, and you're hearing all of this, like, oh, black women this and that, oh, y'all are too city girls, hot girl this, hot girl summer that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's fun to talk about, but we don't, at the end of the day, a lot of us really don't feel that way. We're just, that's how you are online. You love who comes to you with the energy that you match. Like, there are requirements that you have, and there are people that are willing to match them that are black. Like, black women are finding black men that match what they want, and it's perfect. It works like that. But we have expectations of what you want online and stuff like that, and that's not really how it occurs in real life. And
I think I brought that before, just like you said, the online presence. The same thing with music. It's like when you're in a relationship, when you're married, I can listen to anything. My spouse covers me. But when you're single, it's like, I know I can't be out here singing Meg Thee Stallion this and that and hot girl da 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 because it puts this thing on me. Oh, you're a single woman out here. So is that how you are? And it's like, and I'm disgusted by what they're saying and how they're portraying us as women. And so it's like, I can't get with the music. But in a relationship, it's like, I'm committed to my relationship. I'm committed to my marriage. It can be playing in the background. It's not really going to bother me as much. But as a single woman, it bothers me because it's like, this is what people think we are. This is how they look at us. Even though music is entertainment, it's still added to the stereotype.
Personally, to me, I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like it depends. I don't always. I try to listen to music that I just like listening to, and then I also I listen to a mix of music. So I listen to music that's gonna motivate me. I listen to music that makes me feel good and it's good stuff. I don't listen to a lot of like negative music. To me, I call it negative. It's like you're talking about killing people and all that stuff. I don't hear it all day. It saturates my spirit. I don't like it. But I will listen to different type of hype music. To me, it's hype. It's also I admire them sometimes. Like, they can go out and they can talk about who they are, be themselves. It's like empowering. It's like, this is who they are. They're not afraid to say this is how they are. And there are other people that dang, I just had a brain fart. Relate to that. So they sing it because they relate. I sing it because it get me lit. I might want to shake my butt sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Makes you feel good in the moment. Like, I'm not gonna listen to it every day. But in this pieces, like, if you listen, I listen to the words, I listen to the background, ad libs, beat, all of that. So there's some pieces of the words I can relate to. I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad bitch. Yeah, all of that. You can do these men however you want to do it. But then
in my realm is do it this way, not the way she
right. But then you mix it in. You take bits and pieces. Everything doesn't have to apply to you.
And that's how I am with music too. It's like, no, I'm not from the street. I'm not gangster. But you know what I'm saying? I'm a hustler. I'm out here busting my tail and I'm working just as hard as them. So I'm gonna relate more to their music on that aspect to my life. It's just that, when people were like, oh, you listen to this, so that means that you listen to that. No. But
I just want to feel good.
Yeah, so it's just like, usually it's white noise in the background. But yeah, music is like you're judging me on the music I listen to. Now you're judging me on where I come from. Now you're judging me, and so it just makes it really hard to find genuine people, because I really think that people stereotype because they don't know themselves or they don't trust themselves. So they're going to put their insecurities off on you. If you can't handle a black woman, just say that. Ooh. Just say that.
My thing is,
don't make it like something's wrong with her. This is blah, 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 blah. Come in and be her peace. Like, if you come in being in her peace, one, it's a really bad habit, and I cut back on it or whatever, but I don't like to yell at my staff. I don't like to yell at my customers. I don't like to get angry with the customer service person on the phone. So whoever my significant other, yeah. So my significant other, I'd be like, let me tell you what happened today, and I go in and I'm yelling or whatever. I'm not yelling at them, but I'm getting all those emotions out because I'm like, you're supposed to be my person that I can be this way and open with. Now, if I'm going out here and doing all this craziness to all of these people and I have no self-control on my emotions and my attitudes and things like that, that's a different story. But when I come to you, the person I trust and I love, let me vent, let me get this out because I need an outlet. And it's not, oh, she's an angry Black woman or she's too emotional or she's this or she's that. Look, we all have to let it out somewhere or another. Some of us go to the gym, some of us pump the music and get hyped, some of us just vent all everything, every frustration makes us feel better. Some of us take a nap, some of us smoke a little weed, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you write it down, write a song about it, a poem about it, whatever. It's like, as long as we ain't out here killing people because we upset all the time or harming others, accept that, and you find somebody that's okay with that, your form of release, things like
and
that.
And that's everybody. Every human being is like this. If you are not letting out your frustrations in some way, that is toxic. Like oh boy, like that's toxic because you're gonna hold that in, and then one day it's gonna build up, and you're gonna lash out at everybody. But everybody does that. All races have moments where they express their emotions. Well, why is it always only, oh, you're an angry Black? All women have attitudes. Not saying women are always, everybody, men and women, men get attitudes too, acting like women. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes worse. Like they don't have any control over their emotions. A lot of them, I won't say all of them. A lot of them don't have any control over their emotions because they didn't let things out when they were younger. They were told they had to be this, strong, this, and that. They can't cry. They can't do this. So any inconvenience as an adult, they're angry. You can't speak to them. They can't talk about anything. They're hitting women, abusing anything. You know what I'm saying? Drugs, whatever have you. And they're having this problems of all races, not even just Black men, it is mostly Black men because it's a stereotype and it's a problem in the Black community that they can't.
We deal with because we deal with racism on top of everything else.
Right. But everybody, you see what white boys be doing, shooting up schools and churches and movie theaters and grocery stores. You know what I'm saying? But we don't call them terrorists as they should be called. But it's angry Black women. When people get angry, it's just angry Black women. Not everyone else that gets angry. Or it's Latinos. Latinas are spicy. You're just a bitch.
Spicy.
Yeah, they're spicy. They do that.
I mean, ultimately, I think it's because you could go on and on about it, where it comes from and all of that. But what we do have to talk about is how we get out of it, right? Yeah. And basically, I feel like it's on you, right? It's what you take in, who you have around you, and just really focusing on being authentically yourself, right?
We have to.
You got a problem with the music that I listen to?
Yeah, we have to stop accepting what is being told to us. And just like I said, when most women be like, well, I don't need no man. You're saying that because you've been put in a stereotype that nobody wants you. So now you're just going to roll along with it and say, well, I don't need nobody anyway. When you know good and well you don't. Stop accepting that. You have to keep yourself open. That's what happens with us as Black women because we have to put up this brick wall again. And putting up that brick wall stops us from moving forward in relationships because we've been beat down so much. Every time someone comes to us, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're waiting for them to say something stupid or do something crazy or call us out our name or tell us that we ain't nothing, blah, blah, blah. It's 10 other chicks I can deal with or whatever, because they're lining up. And it's like, and we just accepting defeat. One thing I do is I stay strong in who I am and what I will not accept. Like when people come and talk to me, if they automatically are like, oh, why don't you do da-da-da? Yeah, no, that ain't me, bro. No, I'm not that type of person. Keep it moving. Yeah. And again, like you said, unapproachable. It's become become a safety mechanism to put on a face because you don't want to be approached. So if we seem unapproachable, it's because we don't want to talk to you.
That don't even work for me.
Like, we don't want to talk to you, and it's still gonna be like
here you are. Here you are.
Well,
you know, I go to the gym, I put my hoodie on, I put my head down, put my headphones on, because I want you to see me as unapproachable. Don't even look over here. So it's not, oh, we want to be approached. We know how to put that up. Like, I don't want to be dealt with today. So it's not one of our dating crutches. It's a mechanism to protect us, because we as Black women, we are attacked by all nationalities, disrespected by all nationalities, even our own. So we keep this protection, because it's like a white man talks to you like, well, does he see me as the slave girl, or what was it? I don't know. What is he talking to me for? Like, am I your fantasy or whatever? It's like, we can't take anyone seriously because we've been so disrespected for so long that we just put up this shell, and then the person that you let in, they're gonna really have to work hard for it. So the Black man understand, if she lets you in, she sees something in you. You just got to work hard for it. You got to be the one to protect her and love her and nurture that for her to open up and flourish. So, yeah, that's my.
But that's what Sunshine said, about feeling safe, right? Because to have a successful relationship, you have to be vulnerable. You have to open up, and and so if you're unable to do that, it's either, some of it may be a you issue, and we have to work on our things about letting these societal things, get into our own heads. But then we also have to make sure that it's not coming from the other side. Like, we have to stand up for ourselves.
You shouldn't have to be in a relationship where you feel like you have to constantly defend yourself. Your person should know who you are and know your intentions.
And make you feel safe.
Yeah.
If I tell you this is what it is, this is what it is. If you see something to the contrary, bring it. But, again, we do have to, as Black women, we do have to do the work ourselves. Whether that means, knowing the people we surround ourselves with, that's going to bring the best out of us. Again, as women who, mostly in our generation and beyond, has had to deal with being single parents, because our parents were married. We came from a 2-family household for the most part. I think in our generation, it hit around middle school when divorce was really a thing. And so we got half of our childhood with 2 parents, and then the other half. But also we saw both sides. And so when it came to us, we ended up being one side. So even in that, it's like, okay, dealing with either having an absent parent or a seriously involved parent, how we maneuver that, taking care of our children. If the other person doesn't want anything to do with it, we have to be mother and father, which we're not men. We're not saying that we're dads, but we have to have a certain level of respect from our kids and have to raise them a certain way. So we do have to come off as hardcore and, whatever it is. So we're not as docile, and we're not seen as nurturing or anything like that because of things we have to do. So it's like, when you're stepping into these relationships, you have to look at the whole situation. Because when I meet people, I want to know everything about where'd you come from, where'd you grow up, where are your parents at, how many siblings you have, how many kids do you have, what's it going to do, what's your life like, And sometimes when people get around me, they just talk, and I absorb. And while I'm absorbing is, I see who this person is. So you know what? I'm going to navigate based on where they're coming from, and in hopes that the person that I'm speaking to is doing the same thing with me. Oh, I see, how she grew up. I see how this and that and the other. So let me navigate, and understand, her a little bit better. So it takes work for any relationship. It's not about, it can't be about me all the time. You have to know the other person. You have to know, is this going to be a match for me? Is this something I can deal with? And, and not make it a selfish choice. We have to be selfish in protecting ourselves and protecting our hearts. But still, like, if you call yourself being in a relationship or trying to marry someone, you can't discount people because, oh, they snapped today. Oh, there you go. This is why I only date white girls. I'm like, yo, okay, keep dating a white girl. Shit, cut your penis off in your sleep. While she smiled in your face all day long, at least we get our anger out verbally. These people just going, which one would you rather have? I said that to somebody before. They was like, oh, no. I said, well, would you? You're like, oh, you just came out and said you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. I said, so he was like, and so they did. I said, so would you rather me lie to you and then go behind your back, or tell you up front, I'm not gonna be able to be this person or do that, and be honest with you?
I feel like, and not even just men, like I feel like everyone has this thing. Well, a lot of people, I'm gonna say, has this thing where you expect people to be like, to change to be what you want them to be, instead of just accepting people as they are, or not accepting people as they are. If you don't want to deal with that type of person, just don't deal with that person. I've done that too. Where I'll be, I can change them. I can make them a better person. And just now, like this week, I'm starting to just be like, okay, this is how this person is. I don't have the energy nor the mental capacity to sit here and try to make you a better person. Someone else can do that. I'm tired of building up people for the next person. I'm not doing that anymore. So come to me.
Well, I'm the,
how I like it or not.
I'm the same. In a way where I'm not going to change you. But if you come to me saying you're trying to change, and you need help, then yes, I will assist you. But if it's, I'm not going to say, I go in a situation like, okay, if this person does not change one thing about themselves and they're like this, how they are today, are you going to be able to stay with this person and deal with this? And that's the question you have to ask yourself going in a situation. Because if you're going, because they got to ask the same question about you. You know, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has their quips and qualms and things in that nature, whatever. And again, what people see, like as me as a business person, what people see, oh my gosh, she has it together. She did it up, blah, blah, blah. I present myself well. I handle my business. You don't know what I do when I get in my house and I close my door and I go in my room. You know, you don't know what demons people have and what they're trying to fight, what struggles they have, and what emotions they're dealing with. You know, so nobody's perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. We all have our things. So understanding one another. Again, it's not about the Black woman just being undateable. It's about you being a human being and learning how to love and respect people differently.
Yeah. So I say, and learning and knowing that she's a human being too, right? With thoughts and emotions and things that she goes through, and that she also has to process it.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that when you said expectations, they are like the killer of everything, especially when you don't verbalize them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have this idea of what this person is supposed
things
to
off the list. Never even talked about the list, but it's like,
and they have no idea. But then I wanted to, and I don't know which one of y'all said it, but what I've started to do is when I have any type of interaction with somebody, I try to like go back over it. And it definitely, if it's something where they're like, okay, you this or you that, or, you know, something that I've done or they perceive me to do, I think about it. And what I've started doing is saying, you know what, that's a you problem. Those feelings, whatever you're thinking, that's on you. That's not me. That's not something that I did. So in an instance where I come upon any type of stereotypes, no, that's you. That ain't me.
Yeah.
I'm able to speak and talk and be passionate or whatever, just like you are. So any little thing you're talking about, I'm getting aggressive or something like that, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. And it really takes a level of maturity to do that, right? So you could be dealing with anybody, any age, it doesn't matter. It's just a level of maturity and where they are and how they're trying to handle the people in their lives and grow those relationships, pretty much.
I've had to do that too. Not even like just relationships, but friendships as well. Like someone will like lash out or act weird randomly and do something, and I used to sit there and be like, what did I do wrong, blah blah blah, and I have to go over the entire situation, and I'm like, no, that doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't know what they have going on with their life, but that doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm not taking it personal. That's how I have to handle a lot of things now. Like, I'm not taking it personal.
Not talking to me, I'll be like, unless you said something to my face, I ain't nothing happy. We just didn't talk this week. I'm like, unless you came directly to me and said you have a problem with it, like, oh, you ain't talked to someone? Yeah, no, I haven't. What happened? I don't know. They didn't say nothing to me, so we still cool. Like, you don't have the maturity to come to me directly and say, hey, look, this is why I haven't been talking to you lately, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, I'm not going to spin my wheels. I got too much going on in my life to be spinning my wheels over friendships, because we're at an age now where we might not talk for weeks and months. And, I had somebody message me, this lady, I was like, I looked at the last text message I have from her, I'm like, oh, it's been 2 years. I ain't heard from her. Okay, hey girl, what's up? What's up, sis? I'm like, okay, yeah, man, what's up? And this is how we are at a certain age. We're like, okay, we don't have to talk every day. We don't have to. It's not, oh, I didn't hear from you, so something is wrong. Because if I haven't heard from you when I reach out to you, I'm reaching out to you because you didn't tell me anything was wrong. So I'm reaching out to you and continuing on the last time we spoke. So we have to be mature as well, and express to people, like when it's not too many people that I call myself cutting off or cutting out of my life. But the people that are cut out of my life, they know they're cut out of my life, and they know why.
You know what you did.
And it's not about what you did. Look, we don't work anymore.
You know what you did.
Because it was you,
it wasn't me.
I mean, but because the thing about it is, if somebody does me wrong, they usually did me wrong because they came from a place of hurt, because they thought I did something to them. And so I'm not going to say, oh, you did me wrong, just being whatever. It had to come from somewhere, and I can be okay with that. But we have to part ways at this point, And now I've more and more, I let people know up front. Look, I felt disrespected. Like, we can't be friends. And it's mostly like men, of course, because you want your men friends to stay your men friends and stay in that friend role. And when they cross the line, it's like, hey, look, I warned you a couple of times, cross the line. So, I can't be friends with you anymore. Sorry, keep moving. Don't call me anymore. Or if it's female friends, we usually have a conversation. It usually is not. I wish us women would talk more about our feelings. Because I'll be like, hey, look, I ain't like blah, 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 blah. And sometimes it's like, okay, and I never hear from them then. I'm like, oh, so that means we're not talking no more or whatever. I came to you with an issue.
Now, my friend does that. Jayla does that. She'll be like, if she feels the type of way, she won't talk to me for the rest of the day. And then she'll hit me up. She'll be like, hey, Tink, I just had to let you know that I didn't like when you did this, and I just had to tell you. And I'm like, okay. And then if I understand, then I tell you, I understand. But
it's okay to take your space. You can't force nobody to talk to you.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll move on. Like, we're still friends. Like, she was very adamant about telling people, everybody, like, exactly. Like, she might take the time off. Like, I don't want to talk to you today, but she'll come back and she'll let you know, like, I didn't talk to you because I didn't like how you did that. I didn't like how you handled this situation. I felt like it sounded like this to me, blah, 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 and I just want you to know. That's admirable. I get annoyed sometimes, but
people gotta understand when somebody say I feel. Mm-hmm. You can't say that's not what happened. No. They're not saying that.
That's how they took
it.
They
just said that's how they felt. That's how they felt when you said this, and you can't attack somebody on their feelings. But that's another point we did not mention about Black women being undateable and the stereotypes. We attack each other as Black women. We attack each other as Black women, and we bring each other down, and we don't even stand firm with one another to get some resolve. Like I say, it always has to be a solution. If it's a problem, there has to be a solution, and it does start with our relationships with each other. I try to maintain good relationships with everybody. My mama, my sister, my daughter, my stepkids, whoever, like the women in my life, my aunties, whatever. A happy birthday, let you know I'm thinking about you. I respect you. I love you. If it's just a, hey, I love you, whatever the case may be, we have to learn how to, we're not in competition with each other. And it's a constant competition. And it's like, I don't want to give too much on this, but it's like we have a hatred towards ourselves. So we're constantly attacking each other because of it. That's how I feel. Those are my feelings. And as much as we're trying to, and then the hatred goes to, okay, well, I don't want to be Black anymore, so I'm going to bleach my skin. I'm going to wear the long weave. I'm going to get my body done. I'm going to change this about myself, change that about myself. Maybe I'll become more appealing to the Black man or to whoever. So we're trying to change everything, but the change starts from here. It's nothing on the out because there's so many men. I don't know if you talk to so many men. Like nobody ever asked a man, do he like the big long eyelashes? Nobody asked the man, do he really like, because a lot of men like they don't like the fake booty. Yeah, they like ooh on the videos and stuff like that. Before, as far as their woman is concerned, they don't want that.
I thought about that because Chris Brown. In particular, Chris Brown on all his songs, he's always talking about big booty, this, and that. All of his ex, like Rihanna's thick now. When they dated, she was not. She's thicker now. But when they dated, she wasn't. Karrueche, not. His baby mama now, not. Like, they look like me. Like, so I'm like,
he knows what sells.
You gotta look at what they really like, who they really with. Yeah. Like Drake is true to his word. His baby mama, his girl now, everybody like he talk about it. He's about it. Like that's what he like for real in real life. But some of them, they just be talking like,
well, yeah, it's
on
like
the internet talking. They be talking trash about these people when they log off. Like, look at her, she look crazy with this, fake that. And that's not to say like if that's what you like, that's what you want to do with your body. I'm all for it. Like,
do it for you.
Yeah, do what you want to do with your body. I will never. I ain't gonna say I do be judging low key, but you
gotta do it for you. You can't alter because again, your inside's still gonna be the same, and that's gonna make a difference in the end. You can't alter yourself or change who you are, or you have to embrace the fact that you're a Black woman.
And trends are constantly changing, so you better be setting that's what you want to look like because back in the day, it was a whole different thing. They didn't like big butts. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody likes big butts and big boobs and big lips, like all of that. And it's all not when it's on Black women though. Only when it's bought by white women, other types of women though. When it came naturally out the package like that, you don't really like it. It's too much. It's this, it's that. Mm-hmm. But when you can buy it, you make the proportions all build a bit. Then it's okay. It's okay that way.
Yeah,
look Black.
It comes down to self-love, and it comes down to respecting yourself and respecting your fellow Black woman. And just understanding that, guys, we are lovable.
I know I'm lovable. We are. I ain't never had that.
We are lovable. Just because we don't want to settle for your crap, like we oh no, you're gonna take me on a proper date, or you're gonna when we have these requirements, there's nothing wrong with that because the Bible says that a man sought after his wife. We're not in a position where we're supposed to be proving ourselves to you. You have to prove yourself worthy of a wife. And if you got a strong Black woman that's standing within her convictions about who she is and what she expects, and you just can't handle that, you want an easy ride or whatever, then yes, a Black woman is not for you. That doesn't make her undateable. It just makes you lazy, So, you got to keep that in mind. It's like how this whole situation has changed where we're out here like we supposed to prove. What are we supposed to prove? No, you're supposed to be a provider. Just because women are out here working and stuff like that nowadays and take care of yourself, you still need to come to the table with something proving that you are worthy of a wife. You are worthy of a wife. She don't have to make herself worthy of a husband. You sought her out for a reason. So you take that, you run with it. Whatever it is you saw initially, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna run with this. Baby, it's me and you. Let's see where this goes. And then, go on from there. But as far as my friend Winston, he made some very valid points, and I respect him because I've known him for a long time. And again, I've seen him through 2 marriages, and both of his wives were great women. He's still married to the white wife. But I was friends with the Black wife, and I'm friends with the white wife, and they're both wonderful women. So it's not about he didn't pick wives based on race. And he basically made it a valid point. Like if you have the problem, it's something within you. As far as how you judge women and how you look at women and how you view women. We are human beings. Like I said before, we're human beings. We are to be protected just like any other human being. And we are the most disrespected right now. Sometimes it is self-inflicted, but other times it's not, So ladies as well, if you want to be respected, you got to respect yourself. You gotta respect yourself. Again, respect goes both ways. So that's my final word.
I feel like it's all a myth anyway. Um, Whenever you look at statistical data, it always shows Black people like at the bottom in school, at work, here, there, health wise, like everything. And I just don't believe it. From the people and the women that I know, the men that I know, like I don't believe it.
On that point, I feel like, who are they? How do they know? Like, who are they? Yeah, where are they getting this information? First of all, I know, statistically, a lot of Black people don't go to the doctor. So how do you know how their health is?
Another thing,
they don't go.
I know a lot of intelligent men that never even graduated high school, and they're highly intelligent. So how do you measure that?
Yeah, so it's just
it's the same with the COVID numbers. I'm not about to get into COVID, but it's the same with the COVID numbers. Like, first of all, did we forget they were making up numbers in the beginning? Like, every death was a COVID death. We forgot about that. Okay. Anyways, but then they're like, oh, this amount of people, this amount of the population has COVID. Like, these people, some of these people have COVID and they don't even go like to the doctor. They're not in the hospitals. They don't get checked for it. They just know they have it and they're sitting at home, or they don't. Like, how do you know?
But even with that, with COVID, who's doing the worst? What race is doing the worst? What race is so horribly affected? Who's dying the most? Black people, right? So it's like that with everything. So I just refuse to believe it, because what statisticians are doing the numbers? Who's calculating the numbers?
Yeah.
You show me some Black statisticians that aren't, as they call them, Uncle Toms or conservative Republicans that aren't doing the numbers, and then I'm sure we'll see something different. So I just say I don't choose to believe it. I know, just like with anything, any race, that
it's not
Black women are beautiful, just like anybody else. There are many Black men that love Black women, that fight for Black women. So just don't believe hype.
As always, guys, that was my piece, but I just am here as your weekly reminder to make sure that you clean your belly button, you spread your cheeks in the shower, scrape your tongue. I don't know if I've told y'all that, but scrape your tongue. Make sure you get your back, your ears. Thank you. You're behind your ears. What else? Your legs, the whole thing. Your feet, in between your toes.
And as always, stay safe, get tested, love thy neighbor, and that's it.
And take no shit.
Yeah.